That's working. Okay, thank you.
So everybody will have to jump back in. So it may take us a little while to get everybody
Sure, yeah,
back.
no problem. I'm totally fine with hanging out.
That's great. We're just running a little late because the previous session got stopped. So people are going to have to log in again. So just moving slowly. we're just taking our time getting started because we had to close out the other meeting. And now we're just, everybody's going to have to log back in. So it's probably going to take people a little bit of awakening to understand that that's what they have to do. So just rest and be calm and we'll get there.
Boy.
Thank you for joining. We'll be starting momentarily. We got a few more people that have to log in, I believe, that were with us earlier. Welcome, welcome back. We closed out the other meeting, and so we're starting fresh, and that's why everybody had to log in again. So I think we just have one more person, and then we should be good to go. So we'll just wait another minute or two, and then we'll get started. So while we're waiting, is there any follow-up questions that anybody had that I can do my best to answer from what you've already gone through today already? Just unmute and fire the bullets. Either you guys are very well taking notes and absorb everything, or you're brain dead. I don't know which, but both is okay. Because I know this kind of setting it's overwhelming sometimes, and it can be.
I have
Right, Bethany, and then Julia.
So just my question is, the last part of the lecture was around the subconscious, and she used the metaphor of being in a prison yard and gangsters and all that stuff. Are there specific mantras or specific kriyas that are targeted towards kind of breaking up the,
Well,
garbage of the subconscious, or is that Kundalini in general is all targeting the subconscious in different ways?
okay, so yes and yes.
Okay.
So
Got
the
it.
first yes is, and since we've been focusing on sadhana, sadhana is, and you'll read this many, many times, is the best way to open yourself up to cleaning out the subconscious. And the reason for that is that at that time of day, your frequency is most susceptible to the frequency of the infinite, so that your connection to the infinite is much stronger at that time than it would be at like 5 p.m. when the whole universe in your area is going like nuts of whatso, right? So that's why, you know, it's highly recommended that you can get up early and do sadhana. You know, you'll find that we're not trying to put judgment on anybody if they don't. We're just giving you like, here's optimal, and here's, if you can't do that, then do whatever you can, because whatever you can do is optimal at that time, right? But for the most effect, for your subconscious cleansing, is to commit yourself to that time frame between like 3:30 and 6:30, or 3:30 to 7, to really work on yourself and give yourself that opportunity to have that energy, because the energy of the sun is at a certain angle that it allows the energy of the universe to be able to synchronize with your energy in that stillness. Whereas after those times, the angle of the sun and the angle of the universe in relationship, the angle of the earth in relationship to the sun changes. And so all of that energy changes. And it's the same thing. It's also recommended that the same time at the end of the day is another good time to reflect on yourself and to meditate and set yourself up, which is that 4 to 6 p.m. or 4 to 7 p.m. at night, because the opposite angle of the sun and earth are in effect at that time as well. So you basically have these two 12, you know, in opposite 12-hour windows where you can, you know, capitalize on the energy of the universe to boost your own energy, so to speak. And then, yes, and so then the meditations that we do in the morning, right now we're doing the meditations that are set aside for the Aquarian age, you know, going into the Aquarian age, the Aquarian sadhana as it's called. And each of those particular mantras and chants and work on a particular aspect, which is laid out somewhere and I can't remember where, but we'll find it for you. And but you can also do a personal sadhana during that time. Like if you wanted to take on a particular meditation, and let's say you want to do a half an hour of long Ekankars and a half an hour of Guru Ram Das chanting, or you wanted to do the 7-wave meditation for a half an hour, and you wanted to do, I don't know, Kirtan Kriya for a half an hour or something like that. It all works to help you become better at you. Okay, and Julia, you had a question, right? Or did that get answered there for you?
Well, I stepped away for a second, so I kind of didn't hear what your prompt was, but I realized what it is. Now I do have a question. I have a couple.
Okay.
I just, because I'm maybe more of a novice than a lot of maybe some of the other members of the training, I have some basic gaps, I feel like, that maybe just by going into the book by myself and reading, I think will get covered. But in the Aquarian sadhana, can you do multiple different kriyas? Like, it's not like one set kriya, is it?
Oh yeah. So the sadhana kriya changes every single day. You don't have to do the same one. What we may be doing in this is give you certain ones so that you can practice some of the basic ones. But you'll find as you go to different sadhanas, wherever you happen to be going to sadhanas, that the sadhana leader basically has the choice of which kriya to lead. And we're just picking ones so that we have some consistency as we're training you and as you're going through the training, so you have a relationship to some of the basic kriyas that are taught in Kundalini Yoga. Because in the morning, you want it to be fairly energetic, but you don't want it to be so hard that people are like totally blown out. So you have to pick that balance, right? Because some Kundalini Yoga kriyas can be very difficult for people. And then you also have to understand that not everybody can do every posture. So in the morning kriyas, we want to like stretch people, but not kill people. So we kind of pick ones that are like stretch, but not overwhelming. And we want to be consistent while we go through this training so that we're not like picking things out that are like, very, very advanced. We're like mid to mid, slow advanced to mid advanced.
Yeah, I could tell that potentially a Kriya for such an early morning occurrence wouldn't be the most physically demanding, say, right? Or it would build at least.
Right, exactly.
The other question I had, if maybe you and Chris and Sadhari or any of you would want to just share, I would love to hear like how you've like, well, whether or not how often you do the Aquarian sadhana, and also like what in your personal experience it has, like what shifts, I'm sure many, many shifts have occurred. I'm sure your life has changed, but like, I would love to hear some example of that. I think it would help me in my journey.
Sure. Chris, you want to go first?
I mean, we can find, it's easy to find excuses to not do the sadhana. That's very easy. No, it's because I work, it's because I whatever. But when it's a discipline that you have to commit, because you are doing Kundalini yoga or you are doing yoga, you're doing meditation, it's because of something. So remember where's your place of motivation to do this stuff, right? So I personally, I do my own sadhana in the morning, short meditation sometimes, and I like to stick with a meditation. I like to do it in the morning. And usually I don't do it at 4 a.m. So I try to do it earlier, before the sun go up. That's the best time for me when I work. But there is some day that I have to work earlier, I have to do stuff, and I have to do my meditation at night. So I try to not punish myself, because usually you judge yourself. I'm not good enough, I'm not doing my sadhana at the right time, I miss this, I miss that. But this is a loving practice to yourself. So remember, you have to nurture yourself and discipline yourself, because it's the practice comes with discipline. If you don't find your own discipline, is very easy to get this road there, the other road, to just justify yourself when not doing that. But it's very important to commit to a sadhana. I love 40 days sadhana or 90 days. So in 40 days meditation, 90 days meditation, I pick sometimes a hard meditation to feel the energy. But Aquarian sadhana, I honestly don't practice regularly in my personal.
So living in an ashram, which I have for the last 45 years, I go to sadhana like twice a week in the group sadhana, and lead that once a week, and then do my own practice the other 5 days a week. So there's not a day that doesn't go by that I don't do my practice. And it's sometimes it's the same thing day in and day out, day after day. And sometimes it's just something new every day, depending upon what I feel like I need to work on that day. So it's pretty subjective. There's no hard and fast rule, except for to be inspired to get up and do it. That's really the hard and fast rule. And you'll find, as Haridas said, it's not just for yogis. It's like the Buddhists do it, the Zen do it, the Sufis do it, the Muslims do it. Waking up at that time is a sacred time for all of us to pray. I know when I was like a young boy and was in the, I used to be a altar boy. And so I used to get up and go do mass at like 5:30 in the morning. And it was like, 15 people in this church that can hold 1,500. But it was like, a very sacred time. So it's like, it's amazing when you commit yourself to your sacredness, how much you grow internally, because you recognize there's a sacredness in you. Sadhari, you want to add anything, or you're good?
Um, just that, I mean, I practice mine without hesitation every day. It's important for me to do that to keep sane. So I've tried it without, and I learned a long time ago that I'm no good without it. So without fail, it's done every day. But I am someone who does a lot of practices in my day because that's where my comfort is. I'm one of those people that's like, the ultimate goal for me is that, you know, my whole day needs to be a sadhana. And how is that? You know, having mantras going in the background, like as I'm talking to you, you know, doing my practices in the morning, doing my practices in the evening. But I have a combined thing. So I do Aquarian sadhana, but I also have a lot of Hindu related practices as well that I've been doing for a very long time. And so I didn't want to give those up. So I do those two separately though. The thing that I do tell everybody, and something that you, as you become teachers, that you tell your students is that, and I know Haridas and Baldev have said this as well, is that don't let the day, the time, give you the excuse for not doing it. If you don't wake up at 3, 4, 5, who cares? Do it every day. Whatever time is going to work for you, even if it's the middle of the night, because you want to, you know, in order to get anywhere, you have to get started. That's the bottom line. And so you don't want to hold your self hostage. You don't want to make up these boundaries and these rules to prevent you from it, because this gives you solace. This gives you a center. This gives you a grounding in your day. This gives you a protection. It gives you a peace by doing these practices, whatever ones you choose to, you know, do. And so you don't want to sacrifice that. And so, you know, the Amrita Vela is awesome, beautiful time, such sweetness. But don't use the excuses if you don't wake up at 4. Well, no, I guess I won't do it today. Because how I started doing these practices, I used to work in bigger companies and things like this. So you would find me doing practices under my cubicle, in the bathroom stall. I'd go out to my car and do them in my car, you know, friends' houses. I'd be at friends' houses. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't do anything today. I go into their bathroom. I go into the garage. You know, people, you get these excuses of like, oh, well, I got family, I got friends here. I don't want them to hear me chanting, or it's too loud. I might wake them up. Okay, go out to your car, turn the heater on, warm yourself up. You can do it there. You know, there's all kinds of ways that we can do it. And I've done most of them. I've even gone under a bed to do it, lying on my belly and sometimes on my back. So it's fun to get creative. At least that's me anyway. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, thank you each for this. And actually, I don't want to monopolize the time, but part of my reason for asking is because there is such a possibility in the combination of the ways to do it, because it becomes a personal practice. And I already have a robust practice of many other things too. And that's part of my, it's like that perfection is the enemy of good thing. I just, I think I need to think about my Kundalini sadhana as a creative exploration, and that it's all going to have, you know, a massive intrinsic value, even if it's not like going to be the Aquarian sadhana every day, right? Because I think it has to do with my other physical practices that are robust too. So it's like, yeah, figuring out how to integrate it.
Well, I think that's a goal that we all have, because if we did everything that was recommended to us in everything that you're going to learn during this course, it'll probably take up about 36 hours a day or more. So, you know, there's it's like a menu, right? You got to pick and choose which pieces will work for you, and then, accentuate those and embrace them and make you an expert at those pieces. And then you'll find another piece that, oh, well, today I'm going to have Kirtan Kriya. And tomorrow I'm going to do, calm heart and whatever. And then maybe I'll love it so much, I'll do it for 40 days. And then I'll do this one for 40 days, and I'll do that one, or I'll do it for 90 days. Or, it's like you have options, and you find which options relate to you and which resonate for you. And those are the ones that you make into a habit. And then you'll find, once you have that habit understood, then another part of the puzzle gets unraveled. And you're like, oh, I got this down now. Now, what if I start doing that? So it's like bits and pieces, and it's like you just have to, allow yourself to not overwhelm yourself and feel that guilt or that doubt. First, don't feel guilt. Secondly, don't feel doubt that it can't get there, because you all can get there. And, just let it flow and feel what works for you, because, not everything's going to be at the vibration and at the frequency that responds to you as you are. And you want to stretch yourself for sure, but you also don't want to say, well, they told me I got to do this, 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 I got to do this. It's like, no, we're giving you guidelines. You find what works for you. This is optimal. This is not optimal, but it's your choice, right? So it's like, that's kind of how we approach trying to share this information with you, because we all know we all have different levels, and we relate to things in different times, and we respond to things in different ways over our timeline of life. And so all these things come together as to how you decide what to do, just like how you decided to come here today or join this course, where it may have been presented to you for the last, 4 to 7 years, who knows? But today you decided that this is the time, and that's kind of how it works. So, and that brings us to our subject today, or this afternoon, is waking up. So, before we can wake up, we have to have steps to go to sleep. And there's best practices for doing that. So in your book, if you have the old book, it's on 247. And if you have the new book, it's on 253. Guidelines for waking and going to sleep. I think it's called Yogic Lifestyle, chapter 20. Is that right? Did I give you the right page number? Yeah. Okay, so the first thing it recommends or suggests is do some yoga and meditation to help the body relax and process the stresses of the day. Now, the only thing I would recommend here, and you'll have to find what works for you, but for me, if I do an energetic set that gives me a lot of energy, that's probably not what I'm looking for at that time of day. I'm looking, like for me, what works for me is gentle stretching, maybe some exercises with long, deep breathing, some basic exercises like spinal flex and shoulder shrugs, and just a few gentle exercises to release the energy, so to speak. And then a meditation that, again, slows us down a little bit. It's like meditation for the calm heart, or even Kirtan Kriya, or just, 3 minutes of long, deep breathing. Those all help to, connect yourself to yourself and slow yourself down a little bit. You'll find as we go through this that there's really some specific meditations and specific yoga sets that work on this, but I don't want to get into that area right now. I'm just going to give you some broad strokes here. No big meals. I think we've all experienced what it's like to sleep after we've had a pizza at 10 o'clock at night. Not something that we want to repeat very often. But it's also not a good idea to go to bed hungry. So like if you haven't eaten for 5 hours and your normal habit is to eat dinner around 7 or 8 and you haven't had anything since lunchtime, you might want to have a snack or something so that you're not getting up at 12 o'clock starving and now your whole sleep routine is messed up. Comb your hair, and we'll get more into that, but comb your hair with a wooden comb or natural brush. And what's recommended is you comb your hair forward and you comb your hair back. And that what it does is it awakens and stimulates, not only does it stimulate your scalp, which is a massage in itself, but it also stimulates your electromagnetic field so that you're more in tune to yourself. Then at night, you do your bathroom routine, you brush your teeth, you clean your mucus from your throat, and we'll get into more details on that. Drink a glass of water. Now, this is one that you probably don't do very often, which is very, very good, which is to wash your feet in cold water and rub them with a coarse towel and massage. This allows you to, there's 72,000 nerve endings in the bottom of your feet. So by pushing them in cold water at the end of the day, you're giving yourself and then massaging, you're massaging all 72,000 nerve endings, which allows you to relax, which gives you another opportunity to slow yourself down and to feel yourself more connected to the universe than if you just like, take off my shoes and socks and throw on my pajamas and jump into bed and that's my routine. And really you haven't separated yourself from your day to your night and it's all one flow. But by taking the time to comb your hair and brush your teeth and wash your feet, you've like taken a moment of self-care that you may not normally take. And it's best to make sure that your bed is firm. Like, I don't know how many of you travel a lot, but when I used to travel a lot, when I used to get into a bed that was like super soft at a motel, I would be like, this is not gonna work. And I would oftentimes, you know, throw the blankets on the floor off of the one bed and then sleep on the floor because I knew that sleeping on a lumpy, soft bed was not going to be good for my back, for my posture, for my sleep. So, you know, everybody has their comfort level of what their bed is, but optimally, if it's a firm bed, it'll be better for you. And have bedding of natural fabrics because less likely to create static electricity and it's more breathable. And then it's recommended that you have the bed facing east-west as opposed to north-south, because north-south is normal magnetic poles of the earth. And by sleeping east-west, you're in a different angle to the magnetic field. So you're not just absorbing that magnetic field of the north-south that exists. And you can experiment with it. You know, if your bed's north-south now and you have the room and your space, try it for 40 days, east-west, and see what the difference is. I mean, that's one thing that we want you to all understand is that everything we're throwing at you and everything we're sharing with you, we're inviting you to become scientists and experiment with things and find out what works for you and what doesn't and observe it and you know, feel what works and what doesn't. Because ultimately you have to find those niches that work for you, that support you, that gives you that safe space and give you that space where you can grow and expand yourselves. And there's no amount of us telling you, oh, do this, do that, if you're not comfortable with it. You know, we can suggest things, and we do suggest a lot, but it's up to you to decide which part of that vibrates for you and resonates with you. And as I said earlier, what resonates today may be different, 120 days from now or 2 years from now, as long as you keep up the practice, because things change. That's just the bottom line. You change, things change, your relationship to the things that you want to do change, so lie down on your back and start long, deep breathing. So this is consciously letting go, just allowing your body to relax, sort of like long, deep breathing after a Kriya. Just allow your body to relax and soothe out. I'm sure many of us sit at home and, watch TV until the last minute and fall asleep, or on our phones to the last minute and fall asleep. And, as much fun as that might be to watch Facebook all night long, it may not be the best thing for your health. So just, these are, suggestions. And this one really works. So turning on your right side as you relax to sleep. So what happens is when you're pushing on your right side, it's your left side that gets activated. So your left side is, well, you'll start breathing through your left side, and that's a calming effect. So if you're having a hard time sleeping, or you're really anxious about something, lie on your right side and start doing long, deep breathing through the left nostril. You don't even have to try to breathe through your left nostril. It'll happen automatically. And it's the same thing as if you are in an interaction that's freaking you out for whatever reason, if you take your elbow and push on your right side, your left side will become activated, and you'll change your breathing pattern. So your breathing comes out of your left side. And the same thing, if you need to get energy and you really can't do breath of fire or really take time, if you hold your arm on your left side, then your breathing will normally come out of your right side. It's just what happens, because what happens is your breathing is in a 2.5 hour cycle. And so it's on the left side for 2.5 hours, and then it switches to the right side for 2.5 hours. But you can adjust that by simply manually forcing your body to adjust, depending upon if you need that energy or if you need that calmness. Because when you're breathing through the left side, it's through the moon centers, it's through the moon energy, which is a calming, relaxing, soothing energy. Whereas the right side is that sun energy, which is like energizing, power, super focus, right? So those are just, tips to throw into the bucket and see what works for you. So those are some of the basics of getting prepared to have a good sleep. Now, if you're committed to doing sadhana early every morning, the number one key, trust your alarm. Let your alarm wake you up. Don't let your, anxiety wake you up every hour. Am I going to miss the alarm? Am I going to be late? Blah, blah, blah. I recommend you trust your alarm and just leave it to the alarm to wake you up. And so that way you can just you've done all of this stuff. Now you can rest easy and just sleep and, don't have that anxiety. I know sometimes when I was working 70 hours a week and I'd have to meet somebody at someplace at 6 o'clock in the morning, I'd be like, oh my God, am I going to miss it? Or if I have to meet him even earlier, it's like, oh my God, so that anxiety gets into your brain and then that kind of disrupts your sleep. But if you do these things to put yourself in a conscious, calm space before you go to sleep and you trust your alarm, then you can just sleep comfortably because you've done everything you can to cover yourself. And that's really what it's all about. How can I cover myself so I can, have a sleep filled with bliss? So inhale deeply. Exhale. Any questions before we move on?
Could you just demonstrate that elbow thing, maybe?
Yeah, it's just pushing on the elbow. It's not like it's like you don't even have to do it hard. You just have to push on the elbow. Just hold it there for like, a minute or two, and then the energy changes. Yeah. Okay. So hold on just a
Baldev, you're muted, I believe.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I don't know how many of you have been to summer or winter solstice. It's probably not something everybody's been to, but we meet twice a year to celebrate the solstice together. And we've been doing this since the 70s. And it's usually like 10 days long. And it's a wonderful gathering, and we, do sadhana together every day. And one of the centers is in New Mexico, and the other center is in Florida. And what I mean is that all the people that practice Kundalini Yoga throughout the world show up or are invited. Everybody makes their decision whether they show up or not. But as part of that, we have this wonderful wake up that takes place.
Family dear, time of the Lord, love is here. Love is all you'll say.
So this is a tune we wake up to when we're out there and
Rise up right away. Hey, you're awake. Rise up right away. Lord will bless you so many ways. If you will rise up right now, sing his praise. Rise up, sweet family dear. Time of the Lord and remembering, love is here. Love is all you'll say. If you'll awake, rise up right away. Hey, if you'll awake, rise up right away.
so just imagine you've got, 1,000 people camping in their tents, and you have this entourage of people walking around with guitars, singing this song to you at 3 o'clock in the morning so that you'll wake up. So there's a lot of ways to wake up. And Chris, do you have your manual with you? Great. Can you go to that page 247 and read about waking up to the day and share with them these exercises that
Yep.
they can do before they get out of bed?
Yeah, just a little note about your trusting in your alarm. For example, my wife has like a 10 alarms. She put like 10, and then she wake up and wake up and wake up. So she really rely on the alarms. All right, let's talk about the waking up the day. The following routine can help adjust the body upon awakening. It will adjust your spine, navel point, and nervous system so that you will feel more alert and ready for the day. While you're still in bed, you turn on your back with the eyes still closed, bring the hands on the face and begin stroking the face with your hand. That's the first thing. Open your eyes into your hand. So slowly lift the hands away from the face, keeping the eyes open so you can adjust your eyes to the light in the room and massage the face.
Can you demonstrate that, Chris?
Yeah, that's the first thing. The first thing, ideally, you're not gonna have like the eyes, the light in your face. So you're gonna massage your face a little bit, and then you're gonna cover your eyes, and then you kind of like you wanna see, but you don't wanna see. And then you start opening, and then let the natural light get into your eyes, your pupils, and let's say you wake up a little bit smooth, not like sharp.
I have a friend who does this religiously every day. And while he does it, he says a prayer of gratitude so that the first thing that comes up for him, he sends this prayer of gratitude out to the universe. So it's just an opportunity to, again, tune into yourself, tune into your soul, whatever works for you.
All right. So then we stretch the arms over the head, point the toes, that's a ballerina, and then we do cat stretch. Cat stretch is miracle. Is you cross the leg on top, and then you go one side, very gentle, you do the other side. And then usually you crack that. When you do that, usually the spine crack, which is kind of good. And you feel like the energy moving through the body. Do the stretch pose to set the navel point. That's the one we did before when we lay down in the back, and then we point the feet, and then we do a little bit of the fire to stimulate the navel point. It move a lot of energy through the body. Then we turn on the right side and pull the knees on the chest. For a moment, this will strain your heart. All right, like you hug the knee and the chest. That also will help for the abdominal area, for your digestive system to start moving. Now return on the back and pull the knees on the chest with the nose up between the knees. Lock the hands around the legs and do breath of fire for about 1 minute. Then roll up into your rock pose. Bring the forehead down to the bed for a moment and relax. Breathing normally, and this will help to eliminate gas. So we go to the spine, we go do the knees, we rock, we do breath of fire, and then we rock to the front and we do child pose. So we do go all to the front. And also this also stretch the back in the opposite direction. And feel good. If you do that in the morning when your body is very tight, you do that and you start feeling how the body starts getting loose. Lay back on your back, lay back down on your back, and rub the palms of the hands and the sole of the feet rapidly together. These break up crystals that build up in the nerve endings and allow the energy to flow through the body. So you connect the feet and rub the feet and rub the hands, and that feels good. And also to feel like a child. You have this energy of the child, the inner child energy moving. And now you're ready to get out from the bed and head up from the bathroom.
So do you guys have any questions on that? Any questions? All right. So Hari, can you talk about the monkey glands?
So the monkey glands, important to clean every day. So they get clogged up. You know, does anybody know where the monkey glands are? Yep, Emmanuel's got it right here. Yep. So this area right here, okay, gets a lot of buildup of toxicity, everything from saliva, congestion. It's a combination of earth and water that gets trapped in here. And then it also takes in toxicities and holds them here in kind of like pockets. So it's good to massage them to loosen them up. And you can do this one of two ways. And someone might have a third way. So what some people do is that they massage here and they get it warm and get things moving, okay, because the congestion's there, so it tends to be thick. And so it's important to get it moving so that you can hack it out, spit it out. Another way that we get this to provoke this out is if you scrape your tongue with a stainless steel tongue scraper, but you got to reach far back there. Let's see. I don't have one. I should have one with me. It's in the bathroom. But you reach all the way back with the tongue scraper. Does everybody know what one is? Yeah? Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go get mine so you can see it. Let's see. Oh, got one right here. Found an extra one. Looks like this. You can also find them in plastic. I can send you an email of recommendations when you can get them. Okay, copper ones are also good. All right, so here is a fat part and you're just gonna reach it back and you're gonna scrape your tongue forward and you're gonna see a gunk collect here and you're gonna rinse it off and you're gonna scrape, I don't know, could be up to 20 times depending. You press as hard as comfortable, but the further back you reach, what happens is that it provokes these monkey glands to activate and to bring that nasty stuff forward, okay, and up and forward and out so you can scrape it out. And we'll go over more of this kind of stuff in the yogic diet and digestion. Did I meet your needs, Baldev?
You did great. The
All
only
right.
thing is that before there was a scraper, because tongue scrapers haven't been around all the time, there's been toothbrushes. And you do the same thing with the toothbrush and kind of stick the toothbrush bristles down. So you're scraping your tongue with your toothbrush and creating a gag that way. Because the tongue thing hasn't been around forever. Okay, so the next part, so you get that part done. So the next part is massaging the body. And you want to massage your body with almond oil from top to bottom, which allows the skin toxins to come out through the open pores and nourishes the skin. And once you have that done, you're ready for your shower. And this is the gift that just keeps on giving, is taking a cold shower. You know, I go into my cold shower every day now and I'm like, it's like 18 degrees out, so I know the water is going to be really cold. So before I turn it on, I look at the shower head and I just say, give me your best shot. And then I turn the cold water on as cold as it'll go. And then I just like work it into my body. I start with my arms and wash the cold water on my arms until that heats up. And then I do the other arm. And then I make sure my hands get really hot. And the back of my hands. And then I move to my chest and make sure my chest gets totally warmed up. And then I do my feet, stretch my feet into the cold water and make sure my feet get warmed up. And basically what you want to do is work your extremities first, right? So you do your feet and your hands and your arms and the lower part of your legs first. And then you work on your trunk. And you turn around and you let the body get on your trunk in the back. And you do your face, you wash your face in the cold water. And you get everything warm. And this is what's important is just getting into cold water doesn't really do the job. What you want to do is get into cold water and warm your body up in the cold water so that the blood comes to the surface. And that's really what you want to do is get the blood to the surface so that when you turn that water off, it creates this huge secretion into the glandular system because the blood has now been, it's changed. It flushes the organs. It allows the capillaries to open up. It allows the blood to like get massaged. So the benefits of taking a cold shower is it keeps your skin radiant. It opens up your capillaries, it flushes the organs, keeps the blood chemistry young and healthy, and stimulates the health and secretion of the glands. The one thing you don't want to do is your upper thighs and your genitals, you don't want to get them cold first thing. You want to wait until the rest of the body is warm before you stimulate that area. And in our culture, we recommend that men and women keep their underwear on during that time so that area stays relatively warm during the shower. And so let's start with the precautions on the bottom of the page. Start with your outer extremities, your feet, your hands, your arms. The thighs shouldn't go under the water first so as not to disturb the calcium-magnesium balance. The same for the genitals and the head. Do not take a cold shower during pregnancy or menstruation or when you have a fever, rheumatism, or heart disease. If there are problems with the sciatica nerve or high blood pressure, start slowly. Wear cotton short to buffer the thighs and the sexual organs. So on this page, there's a precise science to it. It's called the science of hydrotherapy. If you let the cold water fall just below the lower lip for 10 or 15 minutes, you will be bright and your mind will be very clear. If you put water between your eyebrows and the upper lip, you will be very energetic. If you put water on your forehead, you will be so sleepy that you can't match it. If you massage the upper arm, you are totally curing your stomach. From your elbow to about 2 inches above your wrist corresponds to your digestive tract. 2 inches above the wrist to the wrist corresponds to your heart. The wrist corresponds to your liver and the fingertips to your brain. If you put the water on the front of your neck and let the water run down your entire body and hands, you will totally change all your cells.
Well, Dave,
Yeah.
excuse me. Where are you reading that from, could I ask? Because I'm not following.
All right, let me see if it's in the new manual. It is on page 254. Is it there? No, I guess it's not. Huh. It's in the old manual, I'm sorry to say. We'll have to drag that and find that for you and get that back to you. Because these are just like little tidbits of information that are useful. If you let the water hit your feet and massage the right foot with the left foot and the left foot with the right foot, you're actually massaging your entire body. Stand before a cold shower and massage your feet and your calves by yourself. Use the feet to massage. Don't use your hands. Then stand away from the water and use both hands, massaging your entire body, and let the body get hot. Then take a cold shower again and massage your body again. Do that for 12 to 15 minutes. You should have a friend handy to pull you out. You will be in a totally different space. So these are all things you can practice. But in the morning, you're not, and I'd have never seen anybody take 15-minute cold showers in the morning, I'll be honest with you. I'm sure some people have, but I've never observed it. And, but basically it gives you the opportunity to reinvigorate your blood cells, which then stimulate the glands, which then help to secrete your glands, which then keep the glands young and fresh and clean. And so that's really what the goal is to keep your glands working optimally. Because there's this old phraseology that if your glands are working and they stay young, then you can stay young. So how do you have something to add here? I'm sure.
For the cold showers?
Besides just do it.
Well, take it slow.
Yeah.
And do what's comfortable for you. The massage with the oil is something that acts like a protectant. And so actually by doing that massage with the almond oil actually helps it, makes it easier to get into that cold shower because it doesn't hit you it doesn't create as much of a shock when you have that oil barrier on there. And just remember when you're doing that massage, the ideal way of doing it is that you're, clockwise on your joints, up and down motions on the straightaways when you're doing your massage. And I can send those details to you as well, but just start doing it. And even if you do, like myself, I've got autoimmune issues and rheumatoid related issues, but so I have to be careful doing the cold shower, but I still do it. I still make sure I do my hands, I do my feet, I do my face, I have to be careful with my knees and certain other areas, but do something to get yourself started because either way it wakes you up. And doing it in the morning, it's faster than coffee, honestly. And in fact, I don't know if Haridas has told you this or not, but if you saw her, right, you saw her doing Japji this morning, right? 4 o'clock on the Eastern time zone. She lives in California. Okay. And then she did Japji again for sadhana on the Pacific time zone. Okay. Anytime she needs to go and that girl goes like crazy, she hops in and does a cold shower any time of day or night whenever she needs to perk herself up. That's how she keeps going. That's how a lot of people do it. So that's helpful, something to think about, especially like something I do, because I do a lot of speaking engagements. I do it before those so that I can be on.
Yeah, one of the things that I used to do at work is I would go into the bathroom and I would, get the coldest water I could get and splash my face with cold water, especially my forehead, and it would like revitalize that. And then the other thing I would do to revitalize myself at work would be to, especially on my wrist, like if I could get my wrist in cold water and then massage that, that was so energizing. It was amazing. And then the other thing is combing your hair backwards and forwards, like for 5 minutes in each direction, or even 3 minutes in each direction. really stimulates the electromagnetic field. So you feel like you've just, walked through an ozone layer of this beautiful energy. And these little things are really tools of, the yogic lifestyle that really can help you to, be present when you have to be present. Because that's really what life's all about, right? It's like, am I present in myself in order to be present for anything else that I'm doing? And so sometimes we get to the point where, hey, we've been going all day long and we need that extra push or that extra thing. And a lot of people say, well, let me go get another cup of coffee. Well, there's ups and downs with that, right? But if you use cold therapy as your stimulation, or you use the comb, or you use the breath of fire, now you're using things that give you that extra oomph that actually benefit you, that don't have that downside. So again, these are all tools that you can use. You'll find the ones that work for you, and you'll experiment and come up with, a routine that, reaches into your soul and say, yeah, I can do that. I can splash cold water on my face for 5 minutes. So this little things that, come in handy to, take the chill out of your life and give you a little bit more comfort. Okay.
May I ask a question?
Of course.
Practical question about the hydrotherapy. I do actually, I've incorporated some cold shower action into my life for decades. But I usually do it, I'm gonna have to switch it up because I do it at the end of my shower. So my question is, under this practice, do you then eventually take a warm shower or what?
What do you think?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Yes.
The answer, my friend, is no.
Okay. I guess I was wondering, because I kind of have a mild case of Raynaud's disease, like
right.
Circulation issues, and I live in a cold climate, and I am a ballet dancer that needs her extremities to be warm, so it's a tricky balance sometimes for me, I think.
But I think if you find out, if you are massaging yourself while you're taking a cold shower, instead of just taking a cold shower, you'll find a difference. And just start slow. Like maybe you just do your hands and your feet, like the next time you take your shower, just try your hands and your feet, right? In the cold before you do anything else. Just try your hands and your feet and see what that does for you. But make sure you take time to warm them up, right? Really work the energy so that the blood comes up, and you'll see there'll be a difference, and then maybe you can work into it. And then, as Sadhati said, use the oil, because the oil helps to give you that one more layer of protection before the shock, so to speak. And it really makes a big difference. And so that's another useful tool. But you have to know what your body can do and can't do. And that's why what Sadhati said is like, start slow. If all you can do is your hands and your feet, just do your hands and your feet and work yourself up to that. Eventually you'll get to the point, hopefully, depending upon your body type and what your body needs, you can just take a cold shower and that's it. That's all you need. You're doing all these things to warm up your body, and once your body's warm, you're good. So then you can soak yourself down, wash yourself off, and move forward. But that's not to say that hot showers aren't good too. One of the things I was looking at the other day, it says hot water is good, but you should, according to yogic philosophy, you should stay in it for at least 30 minutes to get the total benefits of hot. You need to be in it for 30 minutes. And that's why we recommend that if you're going to use hot, to take a bath so you can actually soak the body in the hot water and not just have it fly on you. Obviously, there's, if you're at the gym and you got to take a shower after you did your workout, you're going to do what you're going to do. But, when you're at home and you can have your time in your own space, these are just things to keep track of and to follow up on. Okay. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is hair. Unless anybody else has any questions, any more questions about cold showers. The only thing that I recommend and request is to start trying it on a regular basis so that you can discover for yourselves what the benefits are. Because as Sadhari said, it's like, it's better than coffee. And you can like, you know, even if you've only had like 4 hours of sleep the night before, if you take a cold shower and you got to get your act together after that, it can do it for you. There's no question about it. All right, so hair is a big deal because it's an energy center. It's like an antenna. So long hair, I don't know if this is in your book. Let me see. Yeah. All right, so in your manuals on page 255, hair, a yogic viewpoint. Yogic practices around hair are based on Ayurveda. Hold on. Do you guys see my screen?
No.
No, no. Of course you don't. How about now?
Yes.
Okay. All right, now I just have to find the right page to. Okay, here we go. Hair, a yogic viewpoint. Yogic practices around hair are based on Ayurveda, which pays attention to the energy balance in the body, as well as in folk wisdom. Our hair is a natural gift for energy management. In Ayurveda, hair is thought to concentrate your vital energy. Yogis have traditionally focused their awareness by drawing the hair up into a rishi knot at the solar centers, which is also the primary marma point at the top of the head. There is also a concentration of nadi channels at the top of the head, including the main nadi channel of Ida, Pingala, and Sushmani. So the scalp and the hair are connections inward to the sensitive, subtle realms of the being. In Panchakarma, whole practices are devoted to scalp massage and oleation and the ways that the scalp and the skin can deeply absorb oils to affect shifts in dosha imbalances. Ultimately, these methods bring balance back to the nervous system and the entire body. So if you keep your hair long and keep it nourished and healthy with scalp massage, frequent brushing of the hair and regular use of warm oils, it will help you to concentrate your vital force. This can be beneficial for a yogic life and meditative focus. The hair gathers phosphorus and vitamin D through absorption from the sun. If the hair grows to its full length, it brings great energy to the brain. Nature has placed an abundance of hair at the locations on the body where major glands function. There is a relationship between the hair and the hormones and the entire electromagnetic functioning of the body. The hair under the arms, on the legs, as well as the eyebrows can help maintain the body's electromagnetic health, like the subtle antenna for the aura, increasing the sensitivity to the subtlety of life. Okay. So that's a mouthful. Anybody have any questions about that? So as yogis, we recommend that you can grow your hair as long as you want, as long as you feel comfortable with it, or not. It's up to you. Because everything's a personal choice. But the advantage of growing your hair and putting it up acts as an antenna so that it increases the ability for your electromagnetic field to grow, even if it's only a little, which is then an added benefit to protecting you from the universe, which is a mean, nasty place for the most part. So every little tool you can use to make yourself more invincible to the outside world and more invincible to the inside world is always a good thing to consider. And there's no hard and fast rule. Oh, if you're doing Kundalini yoga, you have to grow your hair long. There's nothing like that in the book. There's nothing like that in the manual. There's nothing like that in the rules and regulation of being a Kundalini yoga teacher. It's just a recommendation, and what the benefits of it are and what it can do for you as a human being. So I'm not even sure it's on the test, but we'll find out. So for men, having a beard, and you can see the three men here all have beards. And why is that? The beard covers the moon center on the chin, which is the pranic energy of the nervous system that basically males don't know how to handle without having their chin covered by a beard. That's like a filtration device. 4 of us, 5 of us, 6 of us. So that's just something to keep in mind, that if you see guys with beards, automatically that's what's happening, even though they may not know it. And it may be a natural thing for them. And if they don't know it, then they don't know it. And it just is what it is. So again, it's all about personal choice. There's nothing here that says every man has to wear a beard. There's nothing in the manual that says that. There's nothing that we're recommending that it has to be done that way. It's just another tool for you to use to help yourself grow and protect yourself from the environment that's out there. Women don't have that problem. For women, what's come across in the teachings is bangs. So bangs, what it says about bangs is that the bones of the forehead are porous and function to transmit light to the pineal gland in the brain. So cutting the hair into bangs, covering the forehead, impedes this process. When Genghis Khan conquered China, he issued orders that all women must wear bangs over their forehead because he knew this would keep them timid and subjugated. So I know through the teachings that we've had from Yogi Bhajan, this is a big deal. And that's why so many people that become Sikhs never cover their their forehead. It's always open. And it just allows you to have more strength in your projection, is really what it does for you. It just gives you more strength in your projection. And just observe people that you know that have bangs or don't have bangs, and just use that as an observation in your life. And just see what it does, like it's an experiment, right? Those people that have them, those people that don't have them. Even guys who cover up their foreheads, just observe these things. It's like all of these things are just like tools for experimentation. And all we're saying here is this is the result if you do it, and this is the result if you don't do it. And it's all your personal choice to decide which works for you. Because I can't sit here and say, never cover your head in bangs if for some reason that's comfortable for you and that's where you want to be. I can share with you the result of doing that based on science and history of the yogic lifestyle. And then it's your choice to decide whether or not that's fitting for you or not. And then the other thing that we need to talk about is actual hair care. So keep the hair supple with oils so that it may function properly and avoid dandruff. So you want to brush your hair with natural bristle brush or with a wooden comb twice a day for 5 minutes. And in addition to keeping your hair in a good state so that you don't have rat's nests growing in your hair, as I said before, it stimulates your electromagnetic field. So my children went to school in India, and sometimes their daily care was not as robust as it might be, because sometimes they would have to be in charge of themselves at 10, 11 years old or younger. So one year my son came home from school and he never cut any of his hair. And he had hair down to the middle of his back, or down to the middle of his back. He's like 9 years old. And he came home and it was all gnarly. I mean, it was gnarly. So, we oiled his hair. And I think we worked on it constantly, or I should say my wife worked on it constantly for like a week to get it back to normal. Because if you don't take care of your hair, it can turn into a mess in a quick minute. And it's no fun. It is no fun. I remember one time I was doing some work in the house with a drill. And somehow I got the drill caught into my beard. And it was like twirled up and up and up and up and up. And I was like, until I could finally turn the drill off and untangle myself. And I mean, it took a little while because I ended up, because it was such a mess, I ended up having to cut my beard because there was no way I could get it undone. And it's like, yeah, there's plus and minuses to all this stuff. So just, be aware. Be aware. So, all right, making progress. Any questions? I know we've covered a little bit. Any questions by anybody? Any observations in your lives that you want to share that this has worked for you or not worked for you? Anybody?
I'll share something.
Thanks, Lynn. Appreciate that.
Yeah, there is some of the teachings that I've received with the comb. I was taught that 11 strokes this way, 11 strokes this way, 11 times. I do it twice a day.
And what effect? Yeah, it feels good.
It feels
So
good. Yeah.
Before you do it, do you do it like in the morning and the evening, or?
Morning and evening, yeah. When I get up and when I go to bed. Sorry.
What's the difference for you when you're doing it at night? Like, what effect do you feel? Let's put it that way.
I think it feels for me that I'm getting rid of stuff. Like getting it out of my chakra. Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe in the morning I have stuff too, right?
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing that. That's a
Mhm.
simple, that way you don't have to have a timer. It's like 11 times this way, 11 times that way, 11 times. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's great. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else have anecdotes of life that relates to these subjects that we're talking about? So a show of hands, who does cold showers on a regular basis? What does this mean, Amber? Why don't you share that?
Well, I think that I haven't maybe like past that point where I'm doing it. I think I'm shocking my system. I like what you said about like kind of introducing it to your body and like massaging it because I do not do that. I just like go all in. But I do it. I used to do it like I think it was Julia who was saying I would do my warm shower and then I would do a cold shower. Now for my birthday this year, my husband bought me a sauna blanket. And so I use that and work up a really good sweat. And then I take a cold shower and that's like no problem at all. So whenever I do the blanket, I do that. So that's the sometimes. You're on mute, Ball Dave.
When you do a cold shower, what effect do you feel? I mean, like, how does it manifest for you when you do that?
I think it definitely brings up like feelings of agitation and probably like some kind of control. I definitely do get very agitated. It's almost like when you're doing a meditation and you're not like in a good mindset. Maybe it's chanting and movement and you just can't stop like thinking about when it's over or like looking at the time. I kind of feel like that. It's just kind of like I just want to quit. And so I don't like that. I don't like that I just instantly want to quit.
Okay. Anybody else? Cold showers?
Yeah, I've
All
been
right.
trying them for some time, and I recently came back from Bangladesh, and
When you say trying them for some time, what does that mean?
no, like doing it fairly regularly. And in Bangladesh, it was much warmer out, and the pipes run out on the outside of the building. So in the morning, it's still cooled down at night because it was there at winter time, but no problem, right? And then I came back here, and it was like a 20-degree change in the water, or not so much, but significant. And the bathroom's a little colder in the morning, and that kind of stuff. So I started getting scared of the shower head again, like looking at it, like dreading that moment when it hits my skin. But what I find is every time I do it, and I was starting with it hitting my chest, but rubbing it like really quickly in and not letting it just hit my skin without my hand or something rubbing the spot that it's hitting. So I will definitely try the extremities first. And the other thing I've been doing every now and then is I steam up the bathroom like with the hot water. Then I get into the hot like area of the shower, but I don't get in the hot water. I turn it to cold and I jump in. And I can feel the blood just rush to the surface and my whole body warms up. And then it's probably the clearest part of my day when I step out of that shower. It's just really nice. So yeah, it's just the getting started part of it is where all the fear is. Yeah.
Yeah, so get the almond oil and oil the body, and that'll take away from having to have the warm water there. Plus, you're already warming up your body before you're getting in the cold shower by doing the massage. So when you get in, your body is already, have that protection, and the blood is already at the surface. So using the oil is very important, and using oil in your hair is also really important. Every day, every night, combing oil into your hair is really, really beneficial. So, anybody else cold showers on your lifestyle agenda?
Well, I have a question about them then. So I think part of my fear, if you want to call it that, of them, because I do live in a cold climate for most of the year, I'm just scared I'm gonna be cold all day because I already am cold all day. I'm constantly just like, oh my gosh. So you don't live your life in like this, constant state of freezing?
I live in Massachusetts. It was 13 degrees when I got up this morning. And yeah, no, it's not a problem for me. But
Where-
everybody's body is different. So you have to, figure out what works for you. But I find that, and I've been doing it for 40 plus years. So it's like, just part of my routine now. But yeah, I don't find that being cold all day as a result of taking a cold shower. I'm cold all day if I happen to be in a cold room, pretty much. But yeah, if you do the cold shower right, you don't really feel cold after a few minutes because you're actually warming your body up. You're warming up from the inside out. Instead of throwing hot water on you, you're making your body create the heat. And so that kind of overcomes that, oh, I'm just taking a cold shower. It's like you're letting your body, synthesize the cold water by rubbing your extremities and then, your arms and then your legs and then, the rest of your body. And so that you are stimulating your body to regulate itself, so to speak. And that's really what the cold shower is for, is it creates a variance in your body chemistry that you normally don't have, so that the body can regulate itself. Right? Because most of the time your body wants to be warm. But by taking a cold shower, you shock the system and it's like a reboot. And then you massage it so that it's not a complete, total, shutdown. You want it to be sympathetic to your body, but you also want to give your body a reboot. Sort of like the difference between turning off your computer and telling it to restart. And that's kind of how I look at it. It's like, oh, I'm going to get my restart for this morning. Whereas it's like if you're going into a hot shower, it's like there's not a whole lot of difference between that and your body temperature, so that you're not really restarting anything other than being comfortable and cleaning yourself. This works on a little different level than just that. Anybody else? Going once, going twice? Okay. Sadhari, you have anything to add to this wonderful conversation that we were having?
You're on it. You're doing well.
All right. Fantastic. Chris, you have anything to add? You're good? Okay, fantastic. All right, let's see what else we got in this.
Oh, I will say one thing about the men's hair growing here.
Yeah, good.
Okay, so it works. I now make my husband do it. He's not allowed to cut his hair. And his mother has a very difficult problem with that. But things have changed in our relationship, emotional wise, and as well as other men that I work with and interact with for different reasons. It definitely has a balancing effect on me personally. When I interact with them, there's less tension. There's less heightened anxiety that I have, and it actually makes it easier for me to work with them. And the thing I notice with men is that there's a clarity that comes when they have that covered. There's a clarity that comes, and there's a with their speaking and how they project themselves. It's just something I notice on a regular basis, even if it's somebody who is growing a beard and doesn't, isn't doing it for that reason. That's something that I've noticed. So I just wanted to pass that on, that there is value of that. So, and then with the hair, I've done it. I've cut my hair to just see what it would take. And, you know, our hair is an antenna. And so if we cut our hair, it takes literally that 3 years to grow back that frequency you had that you're getting, that chronic frequency you're getting from your hair. So that's one of the reasons why I don't cut. But again, all these choices are up to you and what you want to do. But it's important that you ask, you know, each other, any of us, you know, the different experiences, because it's important to kind of hear how it's worked for people. Okay, that's it.
Can you talk about not cutting the hair under the arms and the legs, especially for women?
Well, there's a protection there. And you have to keep in mind that in our armpits, and for all of us here, this is where, you know, we have three, this is, you know, our nervous system all ties up in our armpits. And this is why we do so many exercises on angles and with our arms up in the air. But when we have hair there, that actually creates a level of pranic energy for us, for our benefit and our protection. And that hair there actually acts as a cleanser. It's likewise with on our legs as well. And it also, growing, your hair is not going to grow forever. So don't you're not going to walk around and, you know, all of a sudden you're going to have hair coming out your pant legs or something like this. Your hair is going to grow and it's going to stop at some point. And, you know, and that's, you know, I've got spots on my legs where, you know, it's still growing and other parts where it stopped. But it actually helps with balancing out your system, especially if you're someone or you have a family with neuropathy, that you can get down the legs. It actually acts as a protectant and a balancer within your circulatory system in your leg area. Yeah.
I think we covered everything pretty thoroughly. I think, you know, we're in pretty good shape with all of that. So, all right, sit up straight. Take a deep breath. Exhale. I'm going to give you a pranayama to do. So interlock your fingers so that you're holding your hands with just your index fingers in front of your mouth. Your eyes are going to be 9/10 open and looking at the tip of your fingers. You're going to inhale in 4 parts through the mouth. So this is kind of reversed. So you're going to inhale 4 times through your mouth in short sips. And then you're going to blow out through your nose like you're blowing out a candle so that your breath can be felt on the tip of your fingers. Okay? So set yourself with a straight spine and begin. Inhaling in 4 parts through your puckered lips, and then exhaling powerfully through your nose. 4 parts on the inhale, 1 powerful breath on the exhale. 4 short breaths through the mouth, puckered lips on the inhale, 1 powerful breath through the nose on the exhale. Now lengthen the breath, make it longer, make the breath deeper. Inhale deeply through the nostrils. Exhale all out. Inhale deeply and raise your arms up to the sky. Hold your arms up there. Hold them up there. Hold the breath in. Keeping the arms up. Powerfully exhale. Inhale deeply. Stretch even further. Suspending the breath. Powerful exhale. And one last time. Inhale deeply. Stretch. Suspend the breath. Allow the torso to relax, the neck to relax, the face to relax. Allow the breath to just be still. No pressure. Exhale all out, relax. Staying in a meditative mind and in a meditative posture. Rest your hands in Gyan Mudra. Sit with a straight spine and listen to your breath. Allow your body to soften and become relaxed with the straight spine. Become aware of the change state that you've created. Observe. Recognize what is there for you to see and feel. Allow all your sensations to be recognized. And don't judge them. Just allow your awareness to become aware of the sensations of your body. And as you relax deeper, lengthen the breath, slowing it down even more. And keeping the straight spine, allow your body to relax. Inhale deeply. Exhale all out. And just shake your arms a little bit. Move the energy one last time. Let the breath come as it comes, goes as it goes. Inhale and relax. It's time for a 10-minute break. I'm going to be signing off. Thank you all for coming this weekend. It was great to be with you. We'll see you in 2 weeks. I know Sadhati is going to pick up the mantle and carry you for the rest of the day in her capable hands. And she's got lots of homework for you guys to work on for the next 2 weeks. So you know what they say, just start, just start.
Just start.
So thank you all. Take care.
Thank you.
So no.
Satnam.
Thank you, Baldev. Thank you, Chris.
Well, Dave, could I just ask what that pranayama was called?
Give me a second.
Sure, thank you.
That's a 4-stroke breath to build intuition.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And it's recommended to do for 16 minutes.
Okay.
So if you have 16 minutes, it's a great little meditation.
Awesome.
How long did we do it for?
7.
So how is it that some of them get called meditations and some of them get called pranayamas? It's just that way, or?
It's just verbiage.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, this was a pranayama meditation, so.
Yeah, all right. Thank you very much.
Okay, so no.
Nice to see you. Bye-bye.
Your hands up to your chest, your heart space. And let's all take a deep breath in and exhale. And then another inhale. And exhale. And on the next inhale, we'll tune in with the Adi mantra. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Deep inhale in. Exhale. And the protection mantra. Ad Gure Name, Jagad Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siddhi Gurudev Name. Ad Gure Name, Jagad Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siddhi Gurudev Name. Ad Gure Name, Jagad Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siddhi Gurudev Name. And then a deep inhale. Hold. Exhale and relax.
Thank you. That was lovely. Well done. Oh, so you guys have gotten a lot today. So what did Haridas go over this morning with you? The functional minds?
So it was like the importance of sadhana was a big chunk of it, and our experience around it. And then, yeah, we started going into the neutral, positive, and negative mind. And then also like what happens to thoughts, how they end up in our subconscious, and then take on like a life of their own and start kind of controlling us. Yeah.
And we haven't yet made up the section on niyamas and yamas in Patanjali.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Who's familiar with the yamas and niyamas? Stavrola, there you are. Stavrula. And I'm sorry, did someone else raise their hand? No? Okay. So who's familiar with Patanjali? Lynn, I can't hear you.
A very small amount, the Bhagavad Gita is his story, if I'm remembering correctly, and that's where it ends.
Okay, so there's the 8 limbs, so we're going to go over this. So I like to share pictures. And let me make sure I can bring it up here. Okay. Find the video. Can you see that? Yeah, okay. So this is the 8 limbs of Patanjali. And so we're going to go over this. And if you're looking in your manual, so you're going to find these. So I don't have the new manual, but it is on page 44 in the old book. Thankfully, I have pictures. So, and I'll send these to you if you want them. They're helpful if you're going to ever teach students this information. Okay. And so,
It's on page 42.
oh, good. Sweet. Thank you. So we have Samadhi, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, and Dhyana. These make up what's called Ashtanga, the 8-limb path. And it's the 8-limb path of yoga. And so what Patanjali did is he identified these 8 different paths that are associated with an awakening, if you will. Okay. And so is this new for everybody? Most of you? Okay. All right. So Samadhi, as you can see here, it says pure contemplation in this picture I'm showing you. But it's also known as awakening and absorption in the spirit. Okay, so this first, what we're going to do is I'm going to identify these first 4 because they're associated, because I know Baldev went over with you some about the gunas and the tattvas the other day, yes? Right, okay. So these first 4 we're going to go over of the 8 limbs is associated with ether. So it's space. Okay, so Samadhi, awakening and absorption in the spirit. Dhyana, okay, this one is associated with meditation, deep level of meditation. So if you notice, those of you, right, you did the 62 minutes of chanting today in the sadhana. That in itself is a deep meditation. Did you notice yourself going to a different state of being within yourself in practicing that as we went along with each mantra? And each mantra, I'm sure Haridas went over that, you know, each one has a certain number of minutes associated with how long we chanted. And each one takes us deeper and deeper to different facets of our being. Okay, Dhyana, this one here is associated with concentration. So this one, you're going to notice that it could be a single point of concentration. So that may be a drishti point where you're looking at a single point, possibly on a wall, or using what's called a yantra, okay, which is a geometrical picture that you're looking at to focus on to take you into a deep level of concentration. The other aspects of concentration is you may be focusing on just one mantra as it plays. You know, you can do a silent meditation and it's in the back of your mind, just flowing in between the thoughts. But another form of concentration, right, is chanting the mantra. Because every time you chant a mantra, every time you have a mantra going on in your mind or coming out your mouth, or even if you're reading it, that is literally replacing a thought every time that mantra comes through. And every time that occurs, see, the thing about mantras is, and what I love about it, and you've probably already heard this maybe possibly tons of times, is that a thought can't do anything against a mantra. In other words, if you chant Rake Rakanahar, which is a mantra that you chanted earlier today, this morning, okay? Chanting that, or even just one word, or Om Namo Gurudev Namo, if you try to think about anything else while you're chanting that, you don't. Because thoughts don't stick to mantras. This is one of the powers of the frequencies of them. And so therefore, this is why we then get to put our mind and our thought process in perspective. Instead of being ruled by the thoughts, we get to break them up by using mantras, either verbally or silently. Have you noticed that in just some of the practices you've done so far, either at home or in the sadhana? Yeah, okay. So then the last one that is associated with ether is pratyahara. This one's here, known as the withdrawal of the senses. This is synchronization of the senses and the thoughts. This is when the thoughts and the senses kind of become in alignment with one another. And so it doesn't mean that your senses are gone. What it means is that you bring yourself into a more of a neutral mind so you can observe it all. Do you guys have a good grasp of the 3 functional minds that she discussed today, or is it still feeling pretty new? The negative, when I say 3 functional minds, I'm referring to the negative, positive, and neutral mind.
We had a pretty long dialogue about it today.
Okay,
I think we're feeling pretty good.
Good.
I would agree. I would say that we just touched upon how one can cultivate each of those, or like, you know, but that might be something to study more later.
Mm-hmm. Well, all of these bring you into a place to where you can become more aware and slide into that neutral mind. Because that neutral mind is the one that's basically allowing you to, so to speak, step outside yourself so you can be that observer. Because when you're that observer, then you can have that greater awareness of the bigger picture. And then that allows you to make use of, you know, both that positive, negative mind when it does come up. Do you have any questions so far? Okay, so the next one is pranayama. This is associated with breath control. You practiced that yesterday in the inner conflict meditation of holding the breath in and also out. And then Baldev took you through a mini meditation today, a pranayama today, with practicing with the breath. If you can control your breath, you can control your mind body and what it does and does not do. It is associated with air, as you obviously know, but it allows you, when you can control that prana, that life force, okay, that life force is constantly going like this. It's an up and down. We're not just, you know, in Kundalini Yoga, it's all about the lower as well as the upper levels of consciousness. We are not static beings, and so we have to flow back and forth. And if we have prana and our life force in balance, that allows our organs to function better, our circulation to function better, our mind, our thought process, our ability to have a vast amount of patience with ourselves and with others, and everything else for that matter. Has anybody experienced this?
I'll just say that I do breath work as a means to prepare for public speaking. And in terms of patience, I think it does help cultivate patience and ability to kind of react to anything spontaneous that might be happening when I'm giving a presentation. And it takes away the perfectionism that's like, this has to be great or it sucks. But just, I think ability to just get into my wise mind and go with it.
Nice. Yeah, the breath is our seeds, right? This is the seeds for our life, our living. If we're going throughout our daily living and we're going at such a pace that at any moment of any part of the day, if you can't take a breath, that tells you you are moving too fast for yourself. There should be, at any time in your day, it doesn't matter what you're doing, you should be able to take an inhale and exhale. Because you have the ability to slow yourself down and the ability to speed yourself up.
Can I share something?
Mhm.
You said, pranayama controls breath and it controls mind body. A long, long time ago, like in my early 20s, I had a panic attack. And at that time, we didn't even know what panic attacks really were. No one had them. But I realized that if I controlled the way I was breathing, like deep inhale, deep exhale, they would just subside and go away. So that became like it was like gold to me, just knowing my breath could do that. And after that, whoever had them, I was like, just breathe it, and it'll go away. So anyways, that's what that reminded me of, what your statement that you said. I just wanted to share that.
Exactly. It's a big one to help with anxiety, depression, stress and strain, whatever it is. One of the things to remember when you're working with somebody else, it's easy for most of us, you've all learned what a deep inhale and exhale is, correct? How you blow that stomach up when you inhale and then you bring it back to your spine when you exhale. Okay, a lot of people don't know how to properly breathe. And that's one of the key things to teach your students or to teach anybody that because it's one of the quickest ways for them to learn something, but it's also the quickest way for someone to calm down and relax. And one of the things to remember is when you're teaching them it's always, because now we're 6 feet apart or whatever, so it's always important to put your hand like on your belly or wherever, so you can show them where you're breathing from, and getting them to watch you as you inhale and exhale, and then asking them to do it with you. With so much craziness in the world today, and so many people riddled with fear. I mean, this is one of the reasons Kundalini Yoga is so powerful right now, and bringing it to as many people as you can, is to really literally transform them out of that place of fear. And using the breath is the quickest way to do that, because it's non-invasive. It's not a mantra, it's not confusing to them usually, right? It's a breath. Okay, and that breath is a sign of life. So it's a very, very powerful one, that pranayama. And then we're going to have asanas. And this is associated with postures, okay, and proper posture, obviously. But this is a combination of health and meditation, okay? And you want to teach the proper posture as best you can. But in Kundalini Yoga, when I watch you do, so one of the key things is holding space and being able to give instruction, giving a short demonstration, but then you stop and hold the space. So in other words, unlike other lineages or other yogas practices, right? In Kundalini Yoga, we do not tend to do the asana the whole time the student's doing it. We demonstrate it. And if it's a difficult one, maybe we'll show it once, twice, maybe 3 times, but then we'll stop and we'll sit and we'll watch, even close our eyes and just pay attention to the frequency in the space. Okay. And that's one of the things we have to get good at as yogic, Kundalini yogic practitioners, is holding space, because we don't touch people. We don't, and we don't go through the motions, because our priority is holding that space. And it's a meditative frequency that we hold. And when we start to do the exercise or the asana with them, we can get lost in that instead of paying attention to what the most important thing is, where we are in relationship to our class. Likewise with meditation, when we're teaching meditation, same thing. We teach the meditation, we don't necessarily do that with them for the entire time, because we can get lost in that meditation. We have to stay at a certain level of awareness of that classroom and that frequency, because we need to be prepared to address the class as needed. Okay. Another thing with postures that I want you to keep in mind when we teach, we don't correct people over and over again. We give the instruction, like I said, once, twice, maybe 3 times if we see the need for it. But if someone's going to keep doing it with the wrong leg, wrong arm, whatever, you let them be. And it isn't about looking at them either. It's addressing the whole class. We don't call somebody out and say, oh, you're, Joe's, you need to be using the right leg, Joe. Okay, we don't do that. We simply just, repeat the instructions we've already given. And that's why we have you do these, that's why we have you doing so many practicums, because it is really about learning how to sit, be still, give instruction, and be clear about that instruction. Because each Kundalini yoga meditation or Kriya in itself is a formula. That's why you see timings the way they are. Now you can adjust those timings once you learn how that works, but it's a formula. It has a certain way of being done. Okay, so it's important to follow what we have in the book, and granted, some things have been left off. That's why you ask questions, but okay, is that clear what I'm saying about the asana and meditation practices? Okay, we'll go over this with you a few times because it is part of the practice. And so you'll start getting feedback the more you do practicums with how that works and what you may need to do to bring that across to your classroom. Okay. So then we get down to the bottom 2. That's the niyama and yama. Niyama is observance. Yama is restraint. Okay. And niyama has 5 disciplines. And then the yamas have 5 restraints. So the elements, okay? So the yamas have to do with fire and water. And the yamas is associated mostly with the earth. So
What is the asanas element?
Oh, I'm sorry, didn't I say? It falls into the air category, but it also has fire and water. So it actually has 3 depending on what you're doing. Okay. Okay, so here should be able to see a picture of the yamas and niyamas.
I love that picture.
You see it bigger?
It's beautiful.
It is a nice one. So 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 as you see in the book there, you're going to see how these are associated with a negative, positive, and neutral mind. You're also going to see, what these each mean. So I want, let's see. How about Amber? We'll start with you. Okay. So why don't you start with ahimsa? What's ahimsa? If you see it in the book. One of the yamas.
Oh, okay. Well, in parentheses, it says non-hurting, compassion, patience, and love for others. Oh, there's self-love, worthiness, and understanding.
How might that be important?
Well, as a teacher or?
Overall, because we have to take care of ourselves in all walks of life.
Yeah, you always need to hold compassion for yourself and for others.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? The other person is you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Anybody else have any thoughts about this one, ahimsa?
Just that your actions will come back to you in one form or another. So, yeah.
Cause and effect.
I also think about something I want to learn more about as a new concept for me is as a teacher, as a trauma-informed teacher. So being thoughtful about the kinds of language that you use and the types and ways in which you're interacting with students. So because you don't, there's such a high prevalency rate of trauma that sometimes use of language and approach, and of course COVID changes a lot of this too, because we're not in the same physical space as people. Mm-hmm. But I think nonviolence includes that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Communication, how we use our words. Okay, how about Sonam, you move on to Satya. You got your volume off.
So sorry. So Satya, I'm not able to read to you from the book, so I'll start with the truth, which is my book is in my job, because I thought I'd read it at lunch. But what I can share with you for your comment is Satya to me is integral to Satnam. Truth is my identity, so that means I tell the truth. I embody the truth, and I tell the truth in my communication. That's what it means to me. What do you think?
It's a beautiful way of putting it. Anybody else?
Just building on that, I think telling the truth is a critical part of building intimacy with other people, with our friends, with our partner, with our families. Is people can't really get to know us if we don't actually put the masks down and speak our truth. Satnam.
I was kind of surprised to see like forgiveness as one of the words there. It kind of makes sense, but I'm like, yeah, it just caught me that was in that bucket.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to add to that and say that I think that really represents the two-sidedness of telling the truth and then being able to accept others telling the truth as well, and from a place of non-judgment.
Yes. Because what someone else's truth is may not be your own. And their truth could be just as valuable as your own, right? And so, and the place that they're coming from, right? Their experiences, their walk of life, whatever it is, the truth they've come to doesn't negate that anything's wrong because it may be different than yours. But that's what we have to keep in mind is these different perspectives. Okay. And, you know, trying to come up with a one truth for all is kind of challenging, right? Because what's true for you may not be true for others. Like I spent a long time, I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner among many other things, but I spent a long time, years, telling people to eat a vegetarian diet, a vegan diet, that was the only way that they were going to be healthy, until I recognized that everybody has a unique system, a unique body, and not all bodies require a full vegetarian diet. Some actually do need protein. Now, do I agree with eating red meat? No. Okay, because I don't think it's a very healthy one, but there are people that do much better eating fish, eating, you know, chicken or turkey or something like this as far for their protein. And I had to recognize that from my own practices. And so I had to learn for myself what was true for me. Okay, truth for me is that a vegetarian diet is far better for me. It's easier on my system. But that is not true for many of my clients. But there's just as many that are vegan and vegetarian as well. So that's something that I had to let go of, you know, of an assumption that I had made because of what I'd studied for years. And that's because of what I read somewhere that was true. But our systems, our bodies, we as a human being, we actually transform over the years. We're no longer cavemen. So we don't act, you know, and live like cavemen, right? And our bodies are actually different. Our species has transformed over these many years. So, you know, what someone's emotional system, how someone needs to balance their system physically, mentally, and emotionally, you know, that's why when as a Kundalini yoga teacher, right, I'm not just giving out the same meditation, mantra, kriya set to everybody I meet. This person is struggling with a level of melancholy or deep depression. Well, I may give them this or I may give them that, depending on their situation. I take more things into consideration before I just slap something out there, because the cookie cutter process doesn't work. Likewise, there is no cookie cutter when it comes to truth and your own personal truth. The only thing that's true is what comes from you in your inner authority, your inner self. Is that making sense with what I'm saying there? Okay. Let's see. How about Emmanuel? You want to go for Asteya?
Yeah, so not stealing, don't steal. So it says here in parentheses, non-stealing, which is the right use of resources, letting go of jealousy, cultivating a sense of self-sufficiency and completeness. So I hear a lot of like not reaching for the outside to kind of fill the gaps on the inside, and just cultivating like I'm okay. And therefore I don't have to sacrifice myself to get this resource, which isn't going to work anyways, and all the complications that can arise from it.
Yes. Anybody have an experience of that or something else they'd like to share about that one?
I think it's interesting that the non-jealousy is in the scarcity bucket, the resources bucket. It makes a lot of sense. You know, I mean, like when you are wanting for something outside of yourself, that really ultimately that's meaning that you don't feel like you have enough resource within, right? And I guess I had never really thought about it in that like flip of the coin, but it makes so much sense to me.
Mm-hmm. And you're trying to steal something that's not yours. And you're trying to steal something that may not be of benefit to you. dreaming about something, you know, that someone else has, that if only you had it, you know, then your life would be that much better. That's not true. You know, we got to be careful what we want. We got to be careful what we ask for. So hence we got to be careful if we're getting jealous of other people and getting stuck on envy. That automatically takes us where, right? Just like Emmanuel said, it takes us from the inside to the outside. Then all of a sudden now our attention and our concentration is misplaced. And it's on that other person, that other thing. People watching is fine. You know, because there are people here that really have a frequency for the other. They have a frequency to notice the other, and they have a frequency to guide the other. Okay, but it's important, you know, not to get lost in that and lose yourself. Okay, next, let's see. How about Julia? You want to do brahmacharya?
Sure. So sensory control, channeling emotions, moderation.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. I feel like that, to me, it feels a little bit like that neutral mind concept, whereas opposed to just letting ourselves run animalistically, you know, however our instincts, wherever our instincts want to take us, we can funnel and channel what we're experiencing into something that has value.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I mean, it's a tricky one for me. Consciously directing your energy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Intention, really.
Anybody else? Brahmacharya. So when we're directing our energy, this can happen in a number of ways, right? You think of breath control. This is one way that we control and direct our energy, because when you can inhale and exhale, you can actually direct your breath to different areas of your body. Likewise, you know, with, you know, a lot of times with what comes with the brahmacharya and whatnot is, you know, the practice of celibacy for some. Okay. And so what they're doing is they're going to direct that energy. So what happens is, you know, as you may know, right? So when there is sexual action, there is, and there's a release, an ejaculation or orgasm, there's a release of what we call ojas that come out of the system. Well, that's nectar. And one of the reasons why there's celibacy, okay, is to help to build that ojas within your system. And when you do that, then it allows you to direct that energy and that sexual appetite and that sexual energy to a different direction. Now in Kundalini Yoga, right, it's called the householders yoga. Okay, and it's called that for a reason. You know, we don't talk about celibacy. We don't, you know, tell people to practice that. You can, you don't have to, right? And it's built for families. And that's why all the practices that we have, it actually helps us build ojas in many other ways through the different meditations and kriyas. Okay, and so this is why celibacy is not necessary in Kundalini Yoga, but it is like a practice. Okay, and so what happens is that when then you have this ojas built up in your system, and then it allows you to move through actually more into your neutral mind, and it helps you to direct that energy in different ways. And you start to see how that energy that you may have used in a sexual interaction that, I mean, you think about how much energy is there, okay, in an ejaculation, in an orgasm, but that energy, if you've got it still within your system along with those ojas, then all of a sudden now you can transfer that to something else, whether it's your work, your creativity, what have you. Or you can just do Sat Kriya. But when we direct our energy like that, it allows us to be in alignment. It allows us to have a single point of direction. And it prevents us from losing focus. So can you see how these are all building on one another and what the point of them are? It's not just about having one or the other. It's actually about building on top of each other, and so that you're in alignment with each and every one of them. Okay, who wants to do a parigraha?
I can do it.
Okay.
A parigraha is non-possessiveness, non-attachment, fulfilling needs rather than wants. And then the diagram says avoid hoarding and greediness. And it just reminds me, I saw a YouTube video of Deepak Chopra speaking, and he said, if you think about nature, there's no hoarding in nature. Like the trees don't hold on to their things and to their leaves and refuse to drop them in the fall because they don't know what's going to come next year. Like there's just this very beautiful natural ebb and flow of things. So it's bad for humans to have hoarding or greedy tendencies, because it means that you've stepped out of the flow and you have a fear, lack, scarcity mindset, which is not super healthy.
Yes. Except for, I do question the squirrels.
I was thinking about that too. I was. But they're hoarding. So I heard Sarah Silverman has this in her stand-up act, and maybe it's true, that squirrels forget 80% of where they bury their acorns. So that's how the tree. So I think the hoarding has a purpose.
It does, right? It does. I'm just saying it for comedy, because because what happens is, right, it's just like, here's a squirrel, he's planting all these nuts wherever they are, but the thing is they always get eaten. It's just that some other squirrel might find the ones that he's forgotten about, right? So there's enough for everybody. It's just like, when everybody was what was it? The hoarding of the paper towel. I don't know. I'm in Washington State. So there was like this hoarding of all the paper towel and of the toilet paper and a number of other things during the last several months. And it still goes on here. So, when we get trapped in this hoarding, then what happens to us, right? We get stuck. We get stuck in that hoarding. And then we have to figure out our way out. I'm someone who used to bake all the time and didn't know what to do with the food. I'd literally bake and I'd keep it all to myself, but I wasn't going to eat it. Now, what service was that? I was entertaining myself with baking, but I wasn't doing anything. It was there, and what happened? It went to waste because I couldn't eat it, and my family didn't have stomachs big enough to eat the massive amounts. So I started giving it away. And so this is what happens when we, are hoarding and are greedy about something, is that we forget that there is enough, but if we foster that patience within ourselves and that level of calmness, again, I'm stepping you backwards, right? If you have you're directing your energy, you are focusing on your inner truth, you are focusing on your breath, right? All these things, then all of a sudden, then you get to stand still in your own two shoes, and you're only going to focus on what is for you and not concern yourself of what might be passing you by. Because most of us are not here to be grabbing. Because for most people, everything, if you wait, it's going to come to you. That package is going to arrive. That information is going to arrive. That person's going to arrive. That job's going to arrive. That whatever, that creativity, that thought process you want for the next idea or for that next book, it's going to arrive. So I believe a big one about this aparigraha is about being patient and fostering that. And we foster that through all these other steps that we've already started to go through. Okay, so that's the yamas. And again, that one has to do more or less with the earth element. Now the niyamas. So now we have saucha, purity. This one up here. Let's see. How about Bethany? You want to speak to that one?
Sure. Socha, purity, evenness of mind, thought, speech, and purity of body. So that's bringing to mind the super duper cold showers we're all going to be taking in the middle of the Colorado winter, and where everybody else is wintering too, because that seems to have some purifying effects on at a cellular level and beyond.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. The more you do those, by the way, the warmer your body gets. So
good, I'm relieved.
Yeah. So yes, it's a cleanliness. So it's cleaning that tapestry within our minds with all the gunk and the thoughts and the stuff that's built up in the subconscious. So it's cleaning that, right? It's cleaning our bodies. It's cleaning what comes out of our mouth. It's cleaning up our actions and how we present ourselves in the world.
Like also apply to like our space, you know, like keep our space nice and clear and clean.
Yes. Yes. And it is, and it doesn't have this element of perfection either. This is not rigid, this cleanliness. Messes happen, right? Our bodies get dirty. The kitchen gets dirty. The house gets dirty. The car gets dirty. The mind gets dirty. And so while you can ask the longest practitioners of meditation, okay, or pranayama, right? There's still a cleansing that has to happen. Of course, the longer you do these practices, the easier it is to clean because you have less to clean, right? So, but this is, again, is not a rigid thing, right? So if your house becomes messy, your mind becomes messy, it's not a time to freak out. It's a time to notice. Noticing is one of the biggest things you can do. And then you notice within yourself when you have the energy to shift that and clean it. Just because this is dirty right now, but you don't have the energy to clean it, doesn't mean that it has to be done right now. Or you can keep in mind that with all these Kundalini Yoga tools that you're getting, that within a matter of 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, you can transform yourself to going from no energy to an abundance of energy. You can take yourself from anxiety to a calm mind. You can take yourself from depression to a one of stimulation, to where all of a sudden now you're able to do whatever it is, clean out that subconscious, motivated to clean that house, whatever it is you're going to work on. This happens to a lot of people. And so getting stagnant and whatnot. It's like, I'm one of those people, as far as I'm as a teacher goes, most of my workshops, Kundalini Yoga related, is all about the practicality of how we can transform in that 1, 2, 3 minutes or 11 minutes to make it practical for everybody, because that's all it takes to shift and wake yourself up to clean and clear, whatever it is you want to clean and clear. Okay, so we're on Santosh.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Santosha is contentment, gratitude, acceptance, calmness with success or failure. So gratitude will get you everywhere, in some ways, right? And I think with the calmness with success or failure is coming from the neutral mind.
Right.
Yeah.
I call this the land in between, because it allows you to be in between,
Okay.
and be in the middle, to be in the razor's edge, be on the fence and be content at the same time as being on the fence, in between. There's a peace within that. So when things get challenging, you can rise that challenge. But there's a calmness to it. So it's a practice though, just like practicing detachment, practicing letting go, and the art of being compassionate with oneself and one's mind and body. So it says try to be content. And it's through the different practices, you're going to find yourself more and more content, and you're content at being you. It's not of something that you're dreaming of and you've got some picture in your mind and it's going to look like this. Okay. It's a misunderstanding for us to kind of have this, idea of what content's going to look like for us. It's not a mind thing. It's what it feels like in our body to be content with oneself and what that looks like for you. And it's going to be different for each and every one of us. And what it's going to take for us to kind of do that balancing act. And keep in mind, once again, we're not static. And so this contentment doesn't mean we're here in prayer position at all times. We're going to be leaning this way and that way. And that's the thing. We have to learn how to sway and be content, be in this world and be content, be in the business of things and be content. Watching someone go through an up and down emotional trauma, for example, or within yourself, and how do you find contentment within that? And what does that feel like and look like for you? Okay, how about tapas? I'll do it. It's purification and zeal, determination, willingness for practices. So tapas is do your best, but it does not say anywhere to beat yourself up. Lots of people will use tapas to beat themselves up. It's not about that. It is about purifying oneself so that you can be that observer, again, to be able to be in that neutral mind, yet not negating the positive or negative mind. Does anybody want to else add anything to tapas? No, we're almost done. Okay, Swadhyana, or excuse me, Swadhyaya. This is my favorite one. Study yourself. Reflection, meditation, expanding knowledge. There is no greater project you are going to find on this planet other than the study of yourself. Nothing else. No job, no career, nothing. Your family, they're all valuable, they're all important, but the greatest project you're going to have in this life is the study of your own self, your own being, and unfolding what that is. It's not a boring project by any means. If you can raise your hand and say, I'm boring, I'm a boring project, you know, there's so many intricacies and so many facets to your own personal being. And while some of it is surely going to be the same as it is to somebody else's, there is a whole bunch that differentiates you from the next human being. There's all of us in this room, in this classroom right now. We are all differentiated beings. We all have something that we're here for and something that we're here to deliver. And that something, whatever that something is unique to us. It isn't just about our hair, our body color, our hair color, our eye color. Those things are definitely there. But going inside and finding the intricacies, I mean, you have to understand there's a whole lot of people that live, they beat their adrenal glands to death because they want a high. They want that stimulation, whether they may be doing drugs, maybe they have to go to the racetrack every weekend, you know, whatever it is, they're trying to constantly lift themselves up. And this adrenal boosting and fatigue happens because most people in this world want to constantly, you know, they want to bounce, they want to pop, because if they're popping, then that's a sign that they're moving, they're going forward, and it really actually isn't. And so what happens is that so much of this happens that, like I said, they face adrenal fatigue as well as many other types of bodily fatigue and mental fatigue. But what happens is that people misunderstand what the mundane is. Mundane is not boring, but people who need the adrenaline rush are going to feel like there's something wrong with them when things are kind of at this even keel. And they're going to think there's nothing to look at here. Have you ever gone outside? If you haven't done this yet, I encourage it. Going outside, walking in the morning, walking at night, wherever it is, when it's quiet, noticing blades of grass, noticing the leaves, noticing the flowers, noticing a fence, notice the grooves in a fence post. Notice the things that you don't normally notice. Notice all the veins that you may see in just one leaf. Notice all the different striations that may be in a blade of grass. It all just looks green, right? Someone's lawn, green grass, just looks like a whole bunch. But you get one blade of grass, you can get lost in that. That's not boring. That's not anything. But yet you can find an excitement, almost a creativity and a divineness in that. And so many of us forget that within ourselves, that our project in life is that self-study of ourselves. We can think we know everything there is, but I encourage everybody to have a goal of like, knowing, having a desire to know every inch of yourself at all the different levels of your being and what that looks like. Because it's not just a knowing with the mind. It's
And
not
this
just a knowing with the mind.
this idea runs so counter to our culture. Our culture says, no, you don't need to look outside, or sorry, inside at yourself. Just take this pill, just buy this car, just wear these clothes, just do this cleanse. And it is just going to be a new you. You don't need to, don't overthink it. Like, just buy this thing. You got this. So I just really like this invitation to, that it's an imperative for all of us to study ourselves. That's where
Exactly.
freedom lies.
Absolutely, that's where your freedom lies. You know, a quick fix, you know, a quick pill is not necessarily the answer, but you know, you might have a lot of quick fixes within yourself once you understand your own being and what kind of natural tools you already have within yourself. Okay, last one. Oh, yes. Ishwara Pradnadana. Staying humble. Devotion, surrender, faith, dedication. Savior is not here, just in case you're wondering. Savior is not here. Staying humble. It's easy when we start doing these practices, or any other tools for that matter. We may be an expert in many fields and whatever you do, but staying humble in all that you are allows you to be two things. It allows you to be the master at once and the student at once. And that's something key to keep in mind. Because if you can't be a student, then you're not open. If you're not open, it makes it difficult for you to be truly a master of yourself, let alone master of anything else. Devotion and surrender. This is surrendering to that, you know, Satnam is perfect. Truth is that identity that lives within you, that grew within you. You bow to it. If you do nothing at all, bowing to yourself, bowing and surrendering to that divine essence of who you truly are every single day, keeps you humble. And faith and dedication. Faith is nothing ever to mess with. It's the one thing you never mess with anybody else. Whatever someone may have faith in, you allow it to be. That may be their only string. Likewise, it may be your only string. Whatever your faith is in, be your only string that you're holding on to. And you never know how thick that string is for somebody. So we never mess with anybody's faith. It doesn't matter if they have great faith in the orange fruit. And that's, for them, that's their devotion, that's their faith, that's their everything. We don't mess with it. Because that's bringing something for them. A devotion, a peace, a comfort. So the one thing we never mess with is anybody's faith and telling them that it's incorrect, it's wrong, or my way is better than your way. We come from all these different belief systems, and I'm not necessarily a fan of belief systems because a belief system has come from someplace else. A belief has come from a book, what someone has said, what you've heard somewhere. It could come from a great teacher. What we look for is a truth in ourselves. What is that truth for ourselves? That makes sense what I'm saying? Yeah? Okay. Okay. So we're about at 10-minute mark left in class. Do you have any questions? You've had a lot today, a lot of information. Next time we'll be, I'll be going over anatomy and the different types of yoga and things like white tantric yoga, which unfortunately we're not able to have yet. They've all been, that's one of those big group gatherings that we haven't been able to have yet, again. So I have sent you all of your homework and assignments and most of the forms, so you have that. And I put the due dates and everything there. It is not meant to overwhelm you, so take your time going over it. There is nothing you have to have done by the next weekend. Okay. I've sent you a list of the practicums and the weekends we're going to be doing practicums and what they are, so you can have a heads up of those mini practicums we're doing, so you can be aware of them in advance. So I've sent you a lot of information so far. So as you ask me for something because you're missing it, or you'd like to have it, or you got a question of something, likely if no one else has asked for it, you're going to see me sending it out to the group of you so that everybody has a copy of whatever it is any one of you is going to be asking for. Okay. And don't hesitate to send me WhatsApp, text me, email me, whatever with your questions. Okay. And you're bound to have them, so just ask. So you guys feel ready to close now? Need some time to relax?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead and close. Let's see. Anybody want to lead the Long Time Sunshine song for practice? No? Okay, I'll do it, but we'll ask you. Well, I will always, so give you opportunity to practice. Okay, hands together. Eyes closed, sit up nice and straight. Bring your sitting bones. Allow your back and spine to be nice and straight. Nice, just slight Jalandhar. Just gonna close our eyes and just notice. Just nice and easy breathing. Notice just the transformation that's occurred over this last weekend you've been through. You've taken in different yoga practices, sadhana, all kinds of information from various teachers this weekend. Allow yourself patience for assimilation. It's not important to get it all at once. Allow your process to happen. It's not a race. Go at your own pace. Trust your own flow. So I'm going to take a deep inhale breath and then I'll begin. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you. And the pure light within you guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you. And the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. Guide your way on. Now, Sat Nam. Blessings to you all. May you feel surrounded with golden light. May you allow these teachings to be within you and all around you as you carry them forward through the weeks until our next training. Sat Nam. Thank you. Good to see you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Sat Nam.
Everybody.